Okay, so you guys all made it to the corner. Good job. Oh, good. Wave to the Soy House patrons. So, Molesby, the one-stop death shop. This is like the deathly Fred Meyer of its day. It's your one-stop shop for all of your deathly needs. Because you've got the funeral parlor here, and then across the street where Soy House was the marble and granite works, and they made tombstones. Oh. So these are the fellows, and you can actually still see a bunch of their tombstones up at Bayview. And then, Andrea will flip the picture. I think it's right on the back this time.
No, it's okay. I went the wrong way. There!
I always trick her with that one. So this is kind of an aerial view of the marble and stoneworks, and so you can kind of see the slabs of granite that are laying in the yard waiting to be created, little baby tombstones out there. And then Molesby actually had an interest in the local casket makers, which just happened to be down by Whatcom Creek. So there was the shingle mill and the lumber mill down there, so naturally there's a casket maker, and that was part of Molesby's death empire as well. Yay! Death! Woo! Hey, Lincoln! Let's all take a moment of silence for Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so another thing about this building is that it's incredibly haunted. There's a lot of interest, as you can imagine. There's some spirits in here, and we've heard some ghost stories because we've known a few people who have worked here at the Old Town Cafe, and they've told us the ghost stories that they've experienced, so I will share them with you. Just a couple of my favorites. One is they would often come in to an empty restaurant and find plates levitating off the counters. They would hear their name called in the restaurant when there was nobody else around. That's pretty standard ghost shit, but then there used to be a lunch counter at the Old Town Cafe, so you could sit and look out towards the bay. And every so often they would come in the morning and find a woman in a long dress sitting at the counter. And all she would say is that she was waiting for her son to return home, and then she'd sort of disappear. So there's that one. And then my personal favorite was that of the smoking man. So our friends told us that every once in a while they and their coworkers would be enveloped by this smell of smoke. Like you're face to face with somebody who smokes like 3 packs a day, and they're like breathing directly on you. And it would come on all of a sudden, and then it would leave all of a sudden. And that just kind of was not regular kitchen smoke smell, and it happened pretty frequently. So they had a ghost hunter psychic come through, and she said that she felt the presence of a man in a bathrobe smoking a cigarette in the Old Town Cafe. And I think that's a fun story, but I think it's also really fun because you could back it up with a little bit of history. In the 1970s, this place almost burned to the ground because a man fell asleep in one of the upper floor apartments with a lit cigarette, and he perished in that fire. Okay, so say hi to Smokey Joe next time you're having your number 7 at the Old Town Cafe. All right, let's walk up. It's another quick stop, but I want to
The Queen experienced Albert's death and went into a long period of mourning, and most of the upper class and people in America and Europe followed in step, seeing a romantic death aspect to their practices. Typical practice at the time would be if your husband died, you would be wearing all black for the next 2 years. Your only social outlet would be church, and you would go through the whole classic mourning period. And this, of course, continued in Pacific Northwest as well, so you have that, and how people embrace death in America become a little bit different.